So welcome to the Greenfield City Council meeting. Today is the 15th of April for those of you who don't file taxes. I am calling this meeting to order. If I could just have a little bit of quiet back in the audience, that's really helpful for us. Thank you. So this meeting is being recorded by the City Council and the Greenfield Community Television GCTV9. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson. And I don't have Anthony, our regular reporter, so. Welcome, Madison. Are you recording? You don't have to. Great. I just want to mention, for those of you who want to do public comment, there's a sign-up sheet right there, and you get 3 minutes. We always ask everybody to do your name and where you live as just part of open meeting law we have to do. If you're online, we don't see you if you raise your hand, so you'll just have to put it in the comments section, and we'll take people as we go. So first order of business is a roll call of members.
Councillor Golub.
Here.
Councillor Gordon.
Here.
Councillor Bottomley.
Here.
Councillor Bullock.
Here.
Councillor Williams.
Here.
Councillor Bolduc.
They are here.
Here, but stepped out of the room for a minute. Councillor Webb.
Here.
Councillor Brown.
Here.
Vice President Garrett.
I am here.
Councillor Minhas.
Here.
Councillor Sibison Alves.
Here.
President Wondolowski.
Here.
And we'll try to announce when Councillor Bolduc comes back to the rail.
Great, thank you. So first on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, which is voluntary. All right, so we're going to go to the order on page 6 to suspend the rules and be able to go out of order. Could I have a counselor read that for me?
Councillor Bolduc. Return to the meeting.
Okay, Counselor Bolduc's back.
Are you ready? The City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council waive the Rules of Procedure, Chapter 565, Rule 8, Order and Disposition of Business, to allow the agenda items to be taken out of order. Majority vote required.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Any opposed? Abstentions? Great. Thank you all. All right. Next, we're going to approve the City Council minutes from January 21st.
Page 28.
Okay. I'm going to do the minutes and then we'll do the appointment. Thank you. Could I have somebody read the order on page 7, please? Is there an order? No, that's not an order. Just, can I have a motion to accept the minutes, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Great. Okay. All right. Now we are going to move things around. So I'm just looking through my packet to get the right. So page 28 on the appointment of Ann Dillamuth. Could I have somebody read that motion for me?
Order number FY 26-120. The City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council, pursuant to Charter Section 211, approves the appointment of Ann Dillamuth to fill the Precinct 3 City Council seat vacated by Michael Mastrotaro until December 31st, 2027. 2/3 vote required of councilors present.
Great. Any discussion? The committee chairs met. We discussed it. We were all in favor of moving forward. Nobody. Ann's fantastic. So we're so lucky to have somebody raise their hand and say they want to join us. Anybody else have comments or want to say anything?
I'll just say, I think I'm possibly the person on the council who actually has known Anne for a while, and I'm thrilled that she's willing to do this and join us on the council. I think that she'll be excellent at this, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you. So all in favor of appointing Anne? Aye. I don't see any abstentions. So Anne, welcome to the Greenfield City Council. We'll now give you your oath of office.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ann Dillman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my abilities,
perform the duties of the office
perform the duties of the office
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
in accordance with the ordinances
in accordance with the ordinances
and the charter of the City of Greenfield,
and the charter of the City of Greenfield,
the Constitution and general laws
the Constitution and general laws
of the Commonwealth,
of the Commonwealth,
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the United States.
of the United States.
Congratulations, Councilor.
It happens so quickly, doesn't it? All right, so next we're going to move to communications from the superintendent and the school committee. So I'd like to invite the superintendent and the chair to come up.
Hello. There are a few different things that we wanted to highlight and promote for you. One, on April 17th, the History Department at GHS, in collaboration with Dial Self AmeriCorps Youth and Community Services, are going to host the annual Youth Engage with Legislators and Officials Conference at the GHS Library. A few dozen students will have the opportunity to meet and engage in discussion groups with elected officials from the Greenfield School Committee, the City Council, maybe some of you, and other town committees as well as state legislators. This year's main topics, which were chosen by the students, are municipal finances and budgeting, AI in schools, and drugs, alcohol, and vaping among teens. So our kids are great, and they're very curious, and they want to know about these topics. So I'm hoping that whomever of you signed up to be there really enjoys and has a good time. This is going to be my third time running. It's a fabulous event, and I'm so excited that we're doing it. And also on April 17th, I wanted to highlight that at 5:30 at the high school auditorium, we will be having our high school and middle school film festivals. These are student-made films. You can come, check them out. There's also going to be snacks. And again, that's at 5:30 at the high school auditorium. And then I also just want to highlight that you can always go to Arbiter Live. If you are a sports person and you would like to go support our teams, we've got softball, we've got baseball, we've got tennis, we've got track and field. Anything that you could want to go watch and support our kiddos, please do. All of the games are listed on Arbiter Live, and there are too many for me to list for you right now. There's like 4 a day, every day, for the next several weeks. So please go support our youth.
Good evening, everyone. I have a few highlights of some great events that are going on in our schools. At the high school, the Key Club during the month of April focused on community service and picking up litter. They had some planned events where they cleaned up downtown and the bike path on April 11th, and the Key Club students will be cleaning up and around the GHS campus and parts of Shattuck Park, and they also plan to schedule another trip to AEL as part of the United Way's Read, Learn, Succeed program. Our French Club is taking several Greenfield High students, staff, and family members getting ready to depart to France during April vacation. Key spots visited will be Paris, Strasbourg, Dijon, Lyon. Mark your calendars also for the French Club on Thursday, May 7th. They will host a Spring Coffee House talent show from 6 to 8 o'clock in the Greenfield High School auditorium. Admission is $5 for students and $10 for adults, and they will have light refreshments as well. I'd also like to highlight the Greenfield High School Drama Club, who just recently performed The Secret Garden. And what I'd really like to highlight about that is not only did they have a great performance, I was able to attend, but they did a showing Friday prior to their opening to the public for our 3rd and 4th graders in the Greenfield Public Schools, who went over there and saw a great play. I was at that performance. The students did a great job. They were attentive, and it was easy to be so attentive because the actors and actresses did a great job. I ended up talking to the directors afterwards. They screened the scenery behind it. Everybody did such a nice job. So congratulations to all those involved, and a nice opportunity, as I mentioned, to bring our 3rd and 4th graders and introduce them to drama and the big school, right? We know that Greenfield High, when you're an elementary student, that is the school, and we hope everybody aspires to go to that. Also want to just remind people that we have a vacation academy going on. We've done that now for the last couple of years, and we'll be doing that next week during the April vacation as well. You may have seen in the newspaper the other day that the Students of Color Club at the high school had a dodgeball tournament. And congratulations to the winners, which were the administrative all-stars that night. I did not play that night. It was my wife's birthday, and I'm sure many of you know when you have there's not even a choice on that, is there, really, right? On that one. But I want to thank the fire department for also showing up. They entered a team as well as many others doing that. So it was a nice night. And I want to have, let you know, we have a Greenfield High School has Greenfield Middle School, a teacher who has been awarded the Grinspoon Award. Some of you might be familiar with that. It's now called the Pioneer Valley Teaching and Excellence Awards, but commonly known as the Grinspoon Award for many years. And Lisa Morrison, a physical education health teacher at Greenfield Middle School, is this year's sole recipient for the Greenfield Public Schools. And her principal, Michelle Fenimore, says, Mrs. Morrison has a remarkable gift for seeing the unique strengths in every student and designing experiences that allow each one to shine. Whether it's building confidence in a hesitant learner, challenging a natural athlete to lead, or finding creative ways for students to demonstrate teamwork and perseverance, she ensures that all students feel successful and valued in her class. Her commitment to inclusion, encouragement, and growth makes physical education a place where every student can thrive. Ms. Morrison will be honored at a celebratory banquet at the Log Cabin in Holyoke on May 6th, so congratulations to her. And my last shout out I want to talk about is I was fortunate to attend a poetry slam at Greenfield High School. And prior to that, one of our students at the high school entered a poetry slam that happened on April 3rd at the Academy of Music down in Northampton. It was senior Ash Bigelow and came in 3rd place and won a cash prize. But then subsequently last week, they had a poetry slam at Greenfield High. They do an annual one, and they did a great job. I'll tell you, I was thoroughly impressed, just as I was with the drama students telling you this. And I tell you this because I guess I don't have that creative mind in me to be able to write like these people did. And it was faculty members, staff, students, got up there, they were vulnerable, they expressed their own feelings, and we have some talented people out here doing a lot of great things. And not only can you write your own, obviously, right, at a poetry slam, but you can actually then read your favorites, too, that you grew up with, so people did that. So shout out to the librarian, Jess Pollock, at Greenfield High School, and all those who participated, just showcasing that, as Chair Sexton mentioned, right, we have a lot of athletics going on, we have drama going on, we have music going on, we have poetry going on, so we're not a one size for everybody, we're an everything for everybody, and that's what we try to be in the Greenfield Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you both. You always have a very busy agenda going on in the schools. We appreciate hearing it all. Counselors, questions? And don't feel like you have to ask questions just to keep them here longer. Wow, okay. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all of And the enrollment summary, so. So I'm going to take this a little bit out of order, and if Linda Dunleavy, the Executive Director of the Franklin Regional Council of Governments, is available, I'm just going to jump up the city employees, if that's okay, although she doesn't work for the city.
Hi, I sure am here.
Great, Linda, thanks for being here, and thanks for giving us a little bit more info on what the FERCog does and how you work with Greenfield.
Okay. I'm going to start by telling you a bit about what the COG is and how we work, some current projects with Greenfield, and then Laura asked me to also talk about some advocacy work we're doing. If you do not know, the Franklin Regional Council of Governments is a municipal service organization and also the regional planning agency for Franklin County. We became a Council of Governments in 1998, which moved us from a county government to a Council of Governments, which means we are no longer a cherry sheet assessment entity. We are a voluntary membership organization. And all towns in Franklin County have been members since 1998. Towns pay a membership assessment based on a formula that uses equalized value and population. And then we have a separate assessment for all of our municipal service programs, which are opt-in programs that towns and the city can choose to use. You participate in our collective purchasing municipal program, Highway Products and Bids. You pay $3,417 in a bid participation fee, and with that, we provide the bidding and contracting for your highway department's asphalt, road materials, aggregate and loam, salt and sand, etc. You also participate in our Franklin County Cooperative Inspection Program building and plumbing inspection, and you've just renewed the contract for that. Moving to our regional planning agency and community health program, here's some current projects we're working on with Greenfield now. Starting with climate resiliency, we're working with your planning board, open space task force, the Franklin Land Trust, and some city staff to consider zoning protections and land conservation within the Green River watershed. The Green River is kind of interesting because it tends to have a wider area than the floodplain. And so this project is aimed at reducing conflicts between the built environment and the river over the long term. Also on the Green River, we're working on a stormwater project with an engineer and the city to identify stormwater best management practices to reduce pollution impairments on the Green River. And as part of the municipal vulnerability program, we're doing an assessment in all Franklin County municipalities about water supplies to reduce climate vulnerabilities for drinking water, firefighting, farming, and other water uses. I'm going to keep going. Moving to transportation projects, we are helping out your DPW with the Greenfield Main Street, mostly working on helping you, connecting you with the MassDOT right-of-way staff and the right-of-way work that needs to be done for that project. That project, once fully designed and right-of-way acquired, is slated to receive a significant amount of federal transportation funding for that project. With MassDOT, we just completed a road safety audit of 2A from the Rotary to Duncan's, and we're now working to, a road safety audit really looks at conditions in a corridor and needed improvements, and now we're working with MassDOT to come up with how we can improve the safety and flow of traffic and other users in that corridor. To move the Northern Tier passenger rail proposal forward, we are in the midst of doing an economic impact study in hopes of showing Massachusetts and MassDOT that Northern Tier passenger rail is worth investing in. We were recently awarded a federal grant, Safe Streets for All, to do a demonstration project on safety measures, and one of the two pilot areas where we're doing that is the area of Greenfield around the John W. Wolver Transit Center and that part of Bank Row and Olive Street. We're working with the Greenfield Business Association to relaunch the bike-friendly business program in Greenfield. And we've been doing Valley Flyer passenger rail marketing for maybe 5 years or so. Moving on to public health projects, we are the Public Health Training Collaborative. We have the grant to provide those services. That grant funds now state-developed and state-mandated classroom and hands-on training for all Massachusetts public health staff. And Meg Trudrin, your very own Meg Trudrin, was the third inspector in all of Massachusetts to complete the entire housing certification program. One of our staff sits on the Mayor's Domestic Violence Task Force. We've provided funding to your Community Development Department through our Mass in Motion program for age and dementia-friendly work. We supported the Greenfield schools by helping to write, and now we're helping to coordinate a six-district public school opioid settlement grant to support access to mental health support and discipline reform. And our community health department is collaborating with the Greenfield Health Department to conduct a measles outbreak tabletop exercise with the Mass Department of Public Health. I think that's next week. Laura asked me to talk a bit about the advocacy we do. We do work with our legislators quite a lot and do a lot of advocacy, both with legislation and with policy and program and state agencies. Recent work has been to work with the Senate on the environmental bond bill. That has passed through the Senate with a $500 million more for the most municipal vulnerabilities program, the creation of a Connecticut River Commission, and $50 million to implement climate resiliency for the Connecticut River and all of its tributaries so that we can try to stop devastating damage from flooding. The House budget came out today, and I honestly was too busy to see what's in it, because the other big thing we're working on now is the COG is the chair and facilitator of the Rural Policy Advisory Commission. In 2019, Massachusetts issued the first rural policy plan, and we are updating it now. And while Greenfield is not defined as rural by the Rural Policy Advisory Commission, most of the recommendations we are working on will improve equity and capacity in all Franklin County communities. And we also are strong believers that if we have a strong Franklin County, we have a strong Greenfield. I don't know how long that was, Laura. I tried to keep it under 10 minutes.
Amazing. There's a lot.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Linda. Appreciate it. Questions for Linda? Councilor Garrett.
Thank you for all the work that you guys do over at FERCOG. There's a whole long list that you gave us there, so I really appreciate all the efforts you guys are making. One thing I noticed that came up quite a bit was infrastructure regarding, bicycles. And something I read about recently is the Valley Bike Share just expanded to places like Westfield. And I know we're not part of that consortium, but I was wondering if that's something that FERCOG is working on to any degree, even if it's not through the program that's out of Northampton and Springfield. But something along those lines, I would be curious if you guys have engaged with it all.
We have looked into it, and it makes, the last time I talked to staff about it, it really makes the most sense to try to hook into the work in Hampshire County. And we would need to get a grant for that, but you remind me that I should get an update. And I believe you are the teacher of one of my staff's daughters, and she says you're great.
And her daughter is great.
Good, that's what I hear too.
Yeah. And the work she's doing for FERCOG is also amazing. It's some of that complete.
I know, huh? Yeah.
Linda, it is my understanding that on the Senate part of the environmental bond bill, that there's 2 earmarks for Greenfield. Could you mention those for everybody?
I don't know that I know which, is
Okay.
one for the wastewater treatment plant?
Yes.
Yeah. That would make improvements to the wastewater treatment plant. I don't know what the other one is, Laura.
The Lunt property, yeah. At least $1 million, I think that's, I don't want to put you on the spot, you don't have to read through the bill.
Yeah, I don't have it open, but I'll look it up and send you information.
Great. No, we're really excited about this, especially because of the historic flooding issues we have in Greenfield, and any support we can get to help with that is going to be really important, especially as climate change is going to exacerbate that and make more flooding.
Yeah, and that's the other reason to be excited about the Connecticut River Commission, because that went from $0 to $50 million, and we're still hoping for $100 million. But if we can use that for climate resiliency of the Connecticut River watershed plus all of the tributary watersheds, that would be a really significant amount of money and work for improving our resiliency and trying to stop some of that devastating destruction.
Counselors, any other questions for Linda? And seeing no, so thank you so much for taking the time and zooming in. I know you can't see our faces, so it's kind of weird.
No, I can.
Oh, you can? Oh, good.
I can. Yeah,
Last month, they couldn't, so.
that's what I heard. Can you see my face?
We can.
Okay, good. Thanks for taking me out of order, Laura. I'm going to go pack for a weekend trip.
Okay, enjoy.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
All right, next I want to invite up our folks from the planning board, George, and I think maybe Ella Wise is on from.
Ella is online.
They're running late, so they said we could go back to them in a few minutes if you want.
Perfect, all right. So we will invite the mayor and city officers and employees up.
Good evening, everybody. Before we get started, I want to give a quick update. We are getting ready to submit our FY27 budget to you. As you know, we're in a tough financial spot right now. Unfortunately, this means we will be seeing staff reduction across many city departments. To add to that challenge, we've been hit with 2 major infrastructure failures, both of which happened on April Fool's Day. So first I'm going to tell you about the generator. At the beginning of the month, we discovered that the 25-year-old generator located at the police headquarters has failed. This is the backup power for police station, dispatch center, and the server room. If those servers go down, we lose access to all city digital storage, including the system police use for dispatch. Basically, if that facility loses power without a backup, our communications go dark. Right now, we are renting a temporary generator for $14,000 a month. I want to give a huge thank you to Central Maintenance, IT, Fire Department, Police for helping with that installation, and a special thanks to our Central Maintenance Director, Joe Puggs, for negotiating a better price on the rental. But paying $14,000 a month for the rental doesn't make financial sense. On the flip side, repairing the broken unit would cost around $110,000, which is not a great investment. Because of that, I've called an emergency city council meeting for next Tuesday, April 21st at 6:30 p.m. The meeting will be completely remote. At that meeting, I'll be asking the council to approve $250,000 for a new replacement generator. It looks so far like at least 7 of you are able to attend, so we should have a quorum as long as everyone logs on. Shelburne Road Culvert Washout. This also happened on April Fool's Day. We had a major washout on Shelburne Road at the Wheeler Brook Culvert. Repairing just that culvert by itself would cost several $1 million. Mass DOT came out to look at the site with our DPW team. They saw active erosion right while they were standing there and warned us that this could turn into a much larger and more expensive project. Mass DOT also made it clear that they are not interested in taking ownership of the road, which we tried. Right now, there are 2 greenfield homes on the west side of the washout. DPW has been great about collecting their trash and recycling using our smaller trucks. The residents are still getting their mail, and we are checking with them regularly. We are also talking with Verizon, and thankfully, their lines seem to be a safe distance from the washout for now. We are still weighing the options for the future of Shelburne Road, but a permanent fix is going to be incredibly expensive, and honestly, it might be beyond the means of the city. I will keep you updated on the next steps. I want to give a shout out to our first responders and fire and police. Yesterday responded to a terrible fire, a brush fire near Wisdom Way and I-91 in the afternoon, shut traffic, as you all know, on 91, and I wanted to thank all the surrounding agencies who came to our assistance and helped extinguish the fire. Transitioning to the group insurance, GIC. I want to talk about health insurance. Our current insurer is Health New England. They just increased our rates by 19.3% for FY27. That represents a $2 million increase that the city simply cannot afford. Greenfield is not alone in this. Insurance costs are crippling budgets of towns and cities all over. Switching to the state's Group Insurance Commission, or GIC, is a huge step towards getting Greenfield on stable financial footing. Tonight, you are voting on adopting statutes from Chapter 32B. This critical vote is the first step for us to transition to the GIC in January of '27. Making this switch is expected to save the city a substantial amount of money, but more importantly, it will save jobs. We need to keep our departments staffed. Every decision I've made about the budget so far assumes that we will transition to the GIC. You all have an important role to play here and are holding the city's financial future in your hands. We cannot afford to get this wrong, and we are on an extraordinary tight timeline to make these changes. I want to take a moment to thank Tara Cloutier for bringing the Insurance Advisory Committee together and for working so collaboratively to get to this point. I am very happy to partner with our unions on this process and work towards an agreement under Section 19. But we do need to be clear-eyed about our odds. Our attorney, the GIC, the MMA have all advised us to pass Sections 21 to 23 because historically, the success rate with Section 19 is very low. I'm hopeful that we will be an exception to this statistic. Our great unions have committed to reaching an agreement by Tuesday, and I believe them, but we must have a Plan B ready. Attorney Quinn can tell more about the plan and the timeline that we are on. Lastly, I'm asking for a budget extension because of the highly unusual circumstances surrounding this transition. Attorney Quinn is here, and I brought him up with me tonight because he'll answer all the questions on insurance. If you have anything else for me, thank you.
Counselors, if we have questions, I'm going to ask you all to hold off on questions about the GIC until we get to that portion of the agenda. And I know it's extremely hard not to jump in, but otherwise we'll have this weird bifurcated conversation, so I'd rather have it all at once. So I appreciate having the attorney here as well. So any questions about anything not related to insurance, please? Counselor Gordon.
Thank you, Mayor, for being here and for that update. I'm thinking about culvert washouts, which have happened happened in my precinct a couple of years ago, and we had a very rainy summer, and I think, very small culvert that had 2 houses on the other side cost several $1 million for the city to repair. We're seeing that now with Shelburne Road. I know that there's not a whole lot the city can do to prevent this, but I'm curious if DPW is, or anyone perhaps from the state, is keeping an eye out kind of proactively on, which ones might be next, what can we do to shore them up so that we hopefully don't see these very expensive washouts as much as I'm afraid we will in the future.
So we actually knew that this one was a little problematic. We'd gotten an earmark just before it collapsed, like 16 hours before, actually. It's been a great week, great couple of weeks. 16 hours before we got we were just told that we had an earmark for that. So DPW, I don't follow them around every day, but they know which things are going to, that's why you have such a long list from DPW, because they're watching everything. I just actually got a bridge report that I didn't really want to open up because I didn't think I could face anything else. And so yes, they are keeping an eye on it. By the way, did you all get, I think I forwarded everybody the email from FERCog on this particular street, because it's really tough because there's a couple houses at the end.
I think I had Counselor Minhas and then Counselor Brown. Is that, oh, I'm sorry. You sure?
Howdy. As you know, yesterday we kind of had a few fires, and I just wanted to ask if you could give a little update on what actually happened yesterday and what the response was from our courageous folks who I saw in front of my gas station, just like 40 damn cars, just boom, boom, boom. And also kind of just on the topic of natural disasters, given that that was so close to our community yesterday, are there any precautions that the community members can take to kind of mitigate that sort of issue from happening in the future and exploding?
So that was a terrible fire yesterday, and they did a great job. The first call that I received it was near the nursing home and Munson Street, a lot of homes. We had a wonderful response from so many people. How did it start? It had something to do with the brakes on the train. And I love explaining things that I don't totally understand. So, something happened and then some fluid came out, and it was a bad kind of fluid, I think. And, not the kind that you want. That made it worse, I think. And so it was all up and down the tracks, and then it was windy. I went up to see that after we finished meeting I think we were meeting with the attorneys on this insurance thing, and then left to go up and see that. But I think that's how it started. And then it spread, it went into Deerfield. So after they finished and put out, it was fascinating. They have the staging area. It was so hot, I can't imagine fighting a fire dressed up in all those clothes. But they did a good job. It was on all different parts of the track, and then shut down 91. And then they went off to Deerfield to help them after they put it out where we were. I think drought doesn't happen. What can we do? Pray for rain if you're a praying type person. That we were all hoping for that, and then it rained last night. So that was a good thing. And I can get you more information from the fire chief, who would probably be able to explain that better than I did.
Counselor Webb?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you for showing up to the trash pickup on Saturday. The mayor was super sick and still showed up to pick up trash, and with her help, along with, so many that I could name, we picked up over 2 what am I thinking of? What's the word? 2 dumpsters worth full of trash from the Green River and downtown.
And I think there were like 32 shopping carts, something like that. It was a lot of shopping carts. Pretty amazing stuff. Counselor Williams?
Yes, not a question, but a comment. I want to extend also thanks from the M&A nurses at Franklin Medical. They were so happy that you came to their picket. It meant everything to them, so thank you for that.
Counselor Bullock?
Yeah, I was reading today that the House Ways and Means released their budget plan for 2027, and it looks like the amendments are due by Friday. So I'm sure you're working with our state delegation, but there was some things in there that would actually help us a lot as a city. There's an increase to the unrestricted government funds in there. There's rural aid for schools in there. None of them are at a significant increase, but something that could potentially mitigate. So I know that I will obviously reach out to our local delegation, but the turnaround was fast. So I just wanted to let you know, in case you didn't, that it's by Friday.
We have reached out. They're worried about us. I think they're trying to do everything that they can. I'm sharing my worry with them constantly in submitted remarks. And the UGA, the unrestricted government aid, it's terrible. We have all these unfunded mandates. They have not kept up with inflation. What we are receiving in UGA should be so much more. I don't know what's going to happen.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Is there someone else?
I just want to let Attorney Quinn know, so you're going to wait and have all questions on insurance later as we get through?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that
All right.
way
No,
it'll
that's
help
fine.
us in our
That's-
deliberation, if that's
you're-
okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, so I've got George to come up and Ella, who's online, to give us an update on the master plan. Oh, she is. Okay. Oh, I thought I saw your name on the. It was earlier. Great, thank you so much for being here and giving us a short update.
I have hard copy materials. Is it appropriate to do that?
Let me just start. Thank you. George Tolumsis. I'm the vice chair of the planning board. I'm here representing the planning board. I'm here in lieu of Jeff Sauser, who's the chair, because he couldn't be here this evening. I've been honored to be, for the past 10-plus years, the planning board representative on the Master Plan Implementation Committee. And I have a little show and tell. This is the 2014 Master Plan. It's 336 pages. It's easily found on the town website. And so it's called Sustainable Greenfield, and so the Master Plan Implementation Committee is called the Sustainable Greenfield Implementation Committee, SGIC. And so there has been a process to update, because it's been 10 years. We're starting partially starting with a couple of chapters. And so the 2 chapters that we had an opportunity to update were the land use and the national historic and cultural resources. The other chapters, there are 7 chapters total. They're transportation, economic development, education, and that only applies to the buildings, not to the educational process itself. Public facilities, services, and energy, housing. That's it. So 2 of the 7 chapters have just been updated. And I should say that the master plan is by state statute, it's a planning board document. So we have, the planning board has approved this, these changes, these 2 new chapters, and we're bringing them forward now. We want to share them with the council. Jeff's setting up a meeting with the mayor to share them as well. And then we're going to have a public dissemination, a public meeting on May 15th, I think right here. So I should have said at the beginning, I appreciate the invitation from the president and from the councilors to be here today to share this. And I'm going to touch on a few talking points to make sure I don't miss anything. The purpose is to present these important resources, to encourage leadership buy-in, and initiate the next phase of the implementation and action. And the master plan is a shared guide for city policies, programs, and investments. Ideally, it translates the values and hope of people who live, work, and play in Greenfield into specific actions. The power of the master plan, a master plan, is a shared guide so that we're all rowing in the same direction. And want to inform the council how uniquely committed Greenfield and the SGIC have been over the last 10 years, maintaining and implementing the plan since its origination a decade ago, which is not that common in cities and towns across the state, and that was often commented on by our former planner, Eric Twarg. The Greenfield Master Plan was adopted in 2014 with a focus on sustainability. I've mentioned the chapters. And for each of these topics, there's a robust analysis of the current conditions based on data and public engagement, and then recommendations of goals, strategies, and implementation actions. And these 2 chapters have recently been refreshed, the national land use and natural, historic, and cultural resources. And a couple years ago, the planning department started to work with the students of the Conway School, a school for ecological design in Northampton. The updated chapters maintain many of the same goals, strategies, and actions of the original plan, but with new focus on improving Greenfield's tree canopy and promoting development and activity downtown. And what Ella disseminated were the 2 lists of goals, strategies, and implementation actions for each of those 2 chapters, but also a 2-page comparison of the original and current revised chapters. And those are very helpful to see how there's some things that are sustained and continued, and some things are kind of a revised focus. The process for writing the chapters included community engagement through review by local volunteers. The Conway School hosted 2 community engagement events and an online survey. The students worked with the planning department and the SGIC. The committee, the updated chapters were prepared by the students, were then edited by the members of the SGIC, and finally reviewed and approved by the planning board. And the updated chapters relate to your work as city councilors because it provides a helpful outline for shared goals between the many different stakeholders in town. The master plan can help translate priorities into policies, almost like a menu. If you have a goal you want to pursue on the council, the master plan likely has recommended strategies and actions for achieving that goal. Next steps are to use the master plan implementation table to find a goal you're interested in advancing and the recommended strategies and actions. For example, if you're interested in increasing urban tree canopy and expanding urban green space, you can identify which type of strategy you're most interested in pursuing and then which action. Maybe it's to help increase the city's ability to plant and care for trees by assisting the planning department and DPW on complete streets funding applications. And another step is to engage with the planning board as you consider planning priorities and zoning amendments so that we can collaborate on how to move them forward in the context of the master plan. There are many recommendations in the plan for zoning changes. And lastly, the SGIC will check in regularly with the council to keep you updated on the plan status and ongoing implementation. And in addition to the 2 tables that we just disseminated, there's also the students put together a 90-page background chapter that will be sent to you electronically as well. This hasn't been put on the website yet, because we're waiting for the public event that's going to be happening on the 19th. So again, just wanted to share this respectfully with all of you, and hear any, sorry, tap on the table, and hear any feedback or thoughts you might have. I know it's a lot, as I was saying, it's a lot of information, a lot to take in, but the process one is meant to represent the entire community, and both, and going forward as well, so.
Thank you. This is really helpful, and actually this little cheat sheet, I think, is really fantastic, so we can see the differences between where we were and where you're going, and what's still ongoing, and what's been achieved. So thank you. And then having also these recommendations so that the council can look at what we might do as part of that. So councilors, questions. I know it's a lot to digest, so we might not have questions today. It might have to come to you guys via email or at a future date. So I see a lot of hands. Okay, so I have Counselor Minhas, then Counselor Williams, and then Counselor Webb, and I think Counselor Garrett.
First off, thank you for such a comprehensive and extensive list that we can go over later. So just kind of for the interest of public knowledge, this is the master plan that potentially has had some controversy with folks when it comes to parking in Main Street. Am I correct in that? Like, this is the one that will change parking from being perpendicular to parallel potentially down the road, or is that something different?
Well, that, I'm trying to remember, I believe that in the original master plan, that might have been one of the recommendations to consider from the point of view of having more effective multimodal transportation downtown. So there were some things like that might have influenced some of the things that are being worked on right now, but I'm not sure exactly, and obviously.
I can answer that. That's the Complete Streets Plan, which is different, and that's being done with DOT. And
So that's a different, completely different
That's completely
project.
different. It's
Okay.
not the master plan.
Okey-doke.
So you're off the hook for taking away people's parking.
There's a lot of overlap of these different plans and approaches, and so the Complete Streets was one of the recommendations of the master plan, for example, so.
Also, if you can go ahead.
I would just add that the master plan, I agree with everything that's been said. Hi, my name is Ella Wise. I'm the new planning director. It's an honor to be here. It's my first city council meeting. The master plan sets a higher level direction, so multimodal accessibility and healthy streets and a thriving downtown is a goal of the 2014 master plan, especially in the transportation chapter. The transportation chapter wasn't updated in this recent round. But the downtown Complete Streets project is like an implementation action rather than the master plan setting higher level goals.
Just one thing I had was, and forgive me if you've mentioned this before, is there some type of public engagement that is coming up, some type of meeting that the public can expect to come to and kind of have a back and forth to see how this would be implemented, what their town is going to change to look like? I mean, most of the stuff I'm seeing, I mean, all of them, this is looking like pretty good stuff. I mean, more trees, more green space. This is a good thing.
Yeah, there were, as I mentioned, there had been previous involvement of the public, both a couple of public events, and online survey in developing these, and now on the 19th, there's going to be a public event to share it and have engagement. So,
Counselor Williams?
Yes, so my question is, on May 19th is the meeting? Is
Yes.
the public meeting? And where is that and what time is it?
here and
Here?
It hasn't yet, the planning department.
Can I have you put on your, thanks.
Yep, sorry. The planning department is not hosting that. It has not been publicly posted, but the draft plan would be that it was May 19th located here.
In the evening, but I'm not sure of the exact, I don't think we've set an exact time yet. That's being hosted by the SGIC.
Thank you.
Counselor Webb? Hi, thank you all for putting this together. I sit on the SGIC who has been meeting about this and meeting about the public engagement process. You should all come, it's really cool. It's how we get to choose what our city looks like. I had one question for you all. I saw that you updated the solar infrastructure for the city, and I'm wondering if community-owned solar is something that we're interested in as a town, or was it put forth on the plan?
I don't recall that being included. I wasn't involved in the drafting, but I could double check.
I'm not sure. Yeah, specifically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got Counselor Garrett and then Counselor Gordon. Oh, we thought you were. Okay.
So I don't have a question, but just a thank you to you folks for all the work you've put into this plan, and a plug to members of the public who, here, we have a 300-page planning document, and maybe don't automatically want to go and read it, but there's genuinely, it's a wonderful document. I've read it, the 2014 one. I look forward to reading the updates. And that's not just because I'm the kind of person I am. It's really good information. And there's lots of pictures, there are bullet points, like, it really lays out a future path for the city to take that is optimistic and hopeful and proactive rather than reactive. And that's one of the things I really love about the master plan, is it's a chance for government to plan rather than just simply jumping from crisis to crisis, And so thank you for this work, and I really hope we continue holding ourselves to the standard of being a city that plans rather than a city that simply reacts. So, thank you.
Counselor Golub?
Be on mic first. I want to echo my colleagues that said this is incredibly well done. And, excuse me, I know it's well done because one thing that I'm really excited about this is because as a counselor, our scope is so limited about what we can do. And I'm just reading through this, and as the chair of appointments and ordinances, I'm always thinking about, okay, what type of ordinance can we have under our purview? And immediately I located one about the wetland protection ordinance, which we recently amended, but we could amend it again. So I'm curious if all of this is in one spreadsheet. I love a wonderful spreadsheet. This is a wonderful spreadsheet. Do you have this in a spreadsheet that I could search and look up ordinance and see, okay, these are our next steps to implement this as much as possible?
I'll just say, we have folks on the SGIC who are more tech savvy, very tech savvy. I'm not that person. And what's the name of the system that's going to be on?
There is, I think, a public-facing Airtable, but
Airtable.
there's also an Excel document of this PDF.
Can you please send that to the council? That would be incredibly helpful. Yeah? Okay, thank you.
Counselor Dilmuth?
This is very exciting news that 2 of the chapters of the master plan have been updated. I'm curious, is there a schedule for updating the other chapters? Like, how does that work? I'm hoping that there will be.
Yes, this came about somewhat by happenstance because the Conway School came forward, and then the SGIC, in consultation with the planning board, said which 2 chapters would best fit their expertise. And then after that, we were thinking, okay, we've got a little momentum going for updating this 10-year-old plan. And the SGIC thought economic development would probably be the next most important thing, consulted with the planning board agreed. So we've been trying to look for funding to do an update of that chapter.
Counselor Bolduc?
Hi. So first of all, this is fantastic, and I didn't get past the word history, and I stopped there. That's a surprise, right? And I just want to say that I think it's incredibly valuable that you have this focus on highlighting the indigenous history of the area. I think that is incredible, because for the longest time, Greenfield has been an industrial community. And I think that going back to those kinds of roots really teaches us, not to use the horrible pun, but you get to the root of where we are as a community and where we started. But I also, as the secretary of the Historical Commission that totally publishes minutes on time and uploads them to the city direct, I'm going to get you those minutes. But I also think that if at all possible, I would love to see we'd love to have those conversations with you, because I see there's parts here about updating the Historical Commission and talking about historical signage. I can just say that we'd be more than happy to get involved in that. So not to put that on the agenda. Sorry, Margot, if you're watching. Thank you.
I'll just say the Conway students did a wonderful job putting a lot of emphasis on that history, so, yeah. If I could,
What's up?
I just want to make one last comment. If there are no other
Sure,
questions.
absolutely.
I just want to say the title of the Sustainable Greenfield Implementation Committee is a bit of a misnomer. We don't really implement much. You folks do, and the department heads do. And what has been great over the past 10 years is to see so much in department budgets. The master plan has been completely integrated into that process. I've heard so much, it's been so heartening over the years to hear counselors up here reference the master plan so deeply. And so we kind of try to fill in the gaps when something doesn't fall into a certain area that's being covered, and we're kind of champions of things and cheerleaders. So I don't want to take too much credit in that regard. So I just want to mention that. I appreciate all the work you folks have been doing in putting this plan into action. Thank you.
Thank you for the update, and welcome to Director Wise. So we're so excited to have you in front of us and to continue to work with you. So thank you, both.
Coach?
So I want to thank everybody who's turned out tonight. It's great to have a lot of faces here and hear from everybody. So we've got a comment sheet, so if you haven't signed up, just quickly run and grab it from Kathy, and we'll get you on the list. Each of you is going to have 3 minutes to speak. Say your name, where you live, and that's about it. There'll be a little annoying alarm that'll go off. We try and not cut you off, but if you keep going, we will cut you off. And we're going to go back and forth between online and in the room, folks. So thank you all for being here tonight. And the first person I have is Ahmad Estefani.
Thank you. My name's Ahmad Esfahani. I live at 44 East Cleveland Street. Across Massachusetts, as well as in neighboring states, elected officials are no longer treating the issue of immigration and customs enforcement as a theoretical issue. There's growing consensus that some federal immigration enforcement activity is operating outside the bounds of state law and due process. Here in Greenfield, the conversation appears to be at the level of internal clarification, what the city can and cannot do, and how to avoid direct conflict. That is a position, but is not the same as a response. What Amherst did in February and what Brattleboro, Vermont did even more recently was different. They made a determination. They stated clearly that certain conduct is unlawful and accountability should apply regardless of federal authority. What is emerging, not just in Massachusetts, but across the country, is a widening gap between what the federal government asserts is lawful and what states, municipalities, and residents are increasingly recognizing as inconsistent with their own laws and constitutional framework. That gap is not abstract. It is being experienced in courts, in schools, and in our community. And when that gap appears, local government is forced into a position either to defer entirely or to assert that the rule of law still operates at the state level. The question is whether Greenfield intends to remain in a holding pattern or whether it intends to take a position consistent with the direction of the region. Because at a certain point, continued inaction is not neutral, it becomes a form of alignment. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Tara Cloutier.
Hello, I am Tara Cloutier. I live at 255 Coleraine Road in Greenfield. I am a teacher at the high school, and I'm the president of the Greenfield Education Association. Before I get into the GIC conversation, I just wanted to thank FERCOG because they didn't mention that they helped me take 46 kids last month to New York City to go see Buena Vista Social Club on Broadway, which is a magical musical about the music of Cuba in the 1950s and with the same characters in the 1990s. So thank you so much, FERCOG. You're doing lots of great things. I'm also taking kids to Spain on Saturday. Last thing I'm going to tell you about myself. Thanks so much. So I would like to thank the Ways and Means Committee the other night for voting to reject Mass General Law 32B, Sections 21 through 23. I'm going to ask you tonight to vote for accepting Section 19 in that same law. I'd like to thank the mayor for circling back and recommending Section 19. As union leaders, we appreciate the allowing us to retain our collective bargaining rights over our health insurance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have Al Norman.
Good evening, councilors. Al Norman, Grinnell Street. I want to make a few brief comments about something that could be on your agenda very soon. I've talked with Chairwoman Golub about this, filed some testimony. This is if you fall behind in your property taxes, you are at risk of going into tax title, which then leads to foreclosure and can include an auction of your home. This is something that, according to the Treasurer's Office, is around 183 homes by June will be in tax title. This is a great concern because you also have the right under state law to redeem your house. In other words, to pay back what you owe. To do that, you can enter into a payment agreement with the city to pay over time. So the question is, are those payment agreements fair and equitable both to the city and to the taxpayer so that no one's being exploited? Because these are people who aren't simply negligent and don't care about paying their taxes. They don't have the money. They just don't have the money to pay for that. And so one of the things that you will be seeing soon, it's going to come out of A&O or whatever, but it's back in March 2nd, the mayor looked over, submitted a statement to A&O that said that the goal is for everyone to stay in their homes and the taxes need to be paid. I don't disagree with that, but what it leaves out is, what about the interest? It's curious that we as a Commonwealth and as a city have been for years charging people 16% interest on their tax arrears. And that could break a deal right there. The state law that was passed during the home equity theft issue that I was involved in, it's now 8%. Any home after November 1st of 2024 should be getting charged 8% for any taxes that are owed. I would like to see the new payment agreements, which are allowed under state law, to put a cap on it at 8%. I don't think anybody should be charged 16%, 8, 9%, 10%. Let's cap it at 8%. Let's make it so that interest doesn't destroy people's ability to pay back. We also can allow them to pay it back over more than 5 years. The proposal that's in the pipeline towards you caps it at 5 years, but the state said, no, you can allow 10. I don't particularly want 10 years because that's an extra payment that people have to make in interest over all that time. I'd like to see it set a compromise at seven years to pay back instead of 5 years. And also, and probably most critically, the law that's been in effect for a couple of years now allows towns, cities like Greenfield, to charge, to waive some of the interest that's accrued. That interest will kill you. I missed one payment once in all my 47 years of being a property owner. The interest is built up enormously quickly. So I just want to tell you, I'm going to submit the statement for you to the clerk, to Tammy, so that you can all see it before your next meeting. Catherine has already seen it. I understand what the mayor's trying to do, but, and I agree with much of it, but this payment plan is not a little issue. It's actually a big economic issue. Thank you, President. Thank you.
So we have a few folks signed up who are not from Greenfield, so I'm going to take people out of order because of our rules of taking folks from out of Greenfield last, so just so you know, for the people who signed up earlier. So I have Joy Whitbeck next.
Hi, I'm Joy Whitbeck from 49 Lincoln Street, and I'll apologize to anyone who was at Ways and Means on Monday. You already heard my little spiel, but it's a little different. So as someone who's been a lifetime Greenfield resident, then an employee, and now a representative of the SAEA union, I'm here on behalf of the union and myself to respectfully ask you to enact MGL 32B, Section 19, and reject Sections 21 to 23. We can all agree that health insurance is a very important, personal, and expensive part of our lives, and that a change to our current health insurance situation is necessary to better support the financial standing of our city and its contributing employees. Unfortunately, for the third year in a row, the city has faced significant premium increases, and due to time constraints, there has not been productive discussion or room for new ideas or opinions. Most recently, the city requested that employees not only deal with Health New England's 19% premium increase, but also take a larger percentage of the expenses. This would create an impossible situation for employees, especially families who would be asked to shoulder an almost $500 per month increase in premiums. The current union influence on health insurance provided to city employees is limited to an advisory-only role through the Insurance Advisory Committee. After meeting last month, the IAC's response to the city was a request for change by enacting MGL 32B, Section 19, as was suggested by the Finance Department. It further acknowledged that the committees created by this enactment much work swiftly to review this current situation and potentially move to larger group insurance like GIC as soon as possible, perhaps even by January 1st, 2027. In America today, an exorbitant amount of control over our health care is dictated by insurance companies. MGL 23B, Section 19, gives decision-making power to individuals and families instead of us just advising. These are the people with fresh ideas and a desire to work collaboratively. In contrast, Sections 21 to 23 restrict employees' ability to have a voice in the future of our critical health insurance coverage and leaves the burden of change in the hands of those who until now have failed to show a desire to make substantial changes to the plan. If real change fails under 19, then 21 to 23 could be enacted, but Greenfield employees deserve the opportunity to work collaboratively under 19 before assuming that will falter. Therefore, I ask you to please support unionized labor, the financial health of Greenfield, and its employees who keep Greenfield a wonderful place to live by enacting 32 Section 19 and a brighter way forward for city employee health care coverage. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to jump to online, and I have Jesse Cole. Jesse, if you're there, you can unmute.
Hello, my name is Jesse. I'm a resident of 8 Prospect Avenue in Precinct 5. I'm a library worker at Greenfield Public Library, and I'm a co-steward for the city's clerical union, which is part of UE Local 274. And as both a citizen and employee of Greenfield, today I'm urging City Council to support MGL 32B, Section 19, and reject Sections 21 through 23. Section 19 allows the city to find a more affordable insurance option while still ensuring those directly impacted have a voice in their future coverage. Section 21 through 23 restricts our ability to negotiate future health insurance. And I hope that the council can see by the overwhelming concern across multiple city unions today that sections 21 through 23 set a dangerous precedent. So please support Greenfield and its unionized workers, many of whom are your neighbors, by rejecting the enactment of 32B, section 21 through 23, in favor of 32B, section 19. Thank you.
Thank you. Pamela McBride, online.
I'm sorry, this is Pamela McBride. I actually tried to delete. I decided not to make comment tonight.
Okay, thank you. Next I have Danielle Peck.
Hi, yes. My name is Danielle Peck. I reside at 726 Coleraine Road in Greenfield. In addition to living in Greenfield, I also work in Greenfield at Bay State Franklin Medical Center as a labor and delivery nurse. I'm also a member of the MNA, which is the Massachusetts Nursing Union. As many of you know, we are working hard to get a fair contract, a new nurses contract. We've been working since September on this effort. We have had a lot of really wonderful support from the community. In particular, we had a picket last week, and a lot of Greenfield residents showed up for that to support their local hospital and their local nurses. We really appreciate that. We had some great movement today in negotiations, but we are asking for more continued support from the City Council and from Greenfield in general to ensure that we get a fair and competitive contract from Bay State. I'll just say really quickly that I have personally been very moved by the support that we've received from the residents of Greenfield. It makes me love living and working in Greenfield even more. This is a very scrappy community and a community that's really strong in its convictions. I love living and working here, and having a fair contract from Bay State means that both myself and my coworkers can continue to work at Bay State, knowing that we are being compensated fairly, and knowing that we have safe patient nursing ratios as well. We need continued community support to reach a final agreement and to make sure that the momentum that we achieved today just continues going forward. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to move back to the room, and I have Steve Chevalier.
Hi, Steve Chevalier, 40 Plantation Circle. So I'm here just, I don't have a lot to say. It's been said a few times here, but I do want to sit up here and just agree with my other unit leaders here and say that I'm in support of adopting 32B, Section 19. It gives us a say in that now and in the future, as things seem to change very quickly on the health insurance stuff. I think we can all agree that the GIC is currently our best option. I don't think there's any difference in opinion, honestly, at moving to GIC at this point. It's we've been asked a few times to switch from an 80-20 to a 70-30 split on the health insurance. I've heard people ask us to do this. Maybe we should just accept that and do it. I just want you to know that for myself and a coworker of mine, who currently carry a family plan for both the health insurance and the dental. If we were to accept a 70-30 split, it would increase our costs coming out of our paycheck by over $6,000 a year. It is a crazy amount of money, and it's not really feasible. So it's not easy to say that. I know that these decisions are not easy to make. I just want to have the ability to have that choice, or at least have an ability to vote on it. As a working employee here in the town, I do work for Central Maintenance. My coworker is here. He worked on the generator. I helped work on the generator with him. We're always here doing whatever we can for the town, and I hope that the town can support us in choosing the best health insurance and giving us a chance to do it. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Pamela Goodwin.
Good evening, counselors, 54 High Street. It is Pamela Goodwin again. I looked at this huge agenda and printed it out, and I guess there's a lot to think about and a lot of things to fix. I noticed that there were like 5 different vehicles, whether it's a car or a truck. There's at least 8 things that have to do with water. 3 sewer issues, and if you drive a car around town or any other town, you're going to find a lot of potholes everywhere. So we know that there's a lot of expenses, and we know that the mayor is responsible for the entire city, and it's not just about schools, it's not just about roads, it's about running an entire city, even though many people say, including me, it's a wannabe city, it's a town. But we are over 17,000, and so therefore, I'm very glad to have, for instance, a city planner that I welcome Ella to help with the planning board. I want to talk about the nurses because I was a CNA, and I actually went into Worcester and walked around and around and around with the nurses when they went on strike at one of the hospitals there. And I got a bunch of signs, and I'm handing them out to anybody that's willing to stick them in their yard or on their property. They're in the back seat of my car. I'm going to need to get more signs. I believe in safety of the nurses. My daughter has been in the nurse profession in a hospital in Milford her entire life. It bothers me that they're so underpaid. I'm very bothered when the management wants them to work sick. These people have already struggled and struggled for good contracts, and now here we go again. So I fully support that. On the back table, I have a bunch of papers. There's a QR code where you can just pick it up, take it with you, read what else they're concerned about. We all know how long we have to wait in Western Mass for a dentist, for an eye doctor, for any doctor. There's fewer and fewer here. I just put on Facebook that the urgent care is now changed to Mass General Brigham. 4 people sitting there saying with a sign, "We're closed, go to the ER." 4 people that are getting paid to do what? I don't know. And that's Mass General and Brigham and Women. They changed the name from the EEIOU. So when I need urgent care, I have to go to Amherst on University Drive, because when I went to Brattleboro, they don't save your information in the computer system. My daughter said, geez, if I had any money, Mom, and could quit my job, I'd come out and make urgent care here in Western Mass. So I fully support what it is that they're doing. I'd love to give out more and more signs. I know you can either reach out to them or messenger me on Facebook. The last thing I want to say is I hope that people will listen and watch as soon as it goes up. We just had a GSEP meeting. Again, no public comment, nobody came, nobody cares, and I want you to be able to see what we're talking about once it comes over off the cloud. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Annie Hassett?
Annie Hassett, 21 Leonard Street, Buenas noches. We have a large Hispanic community here. Haven't heard anybody actually address them. So as a senior citizen on a stable income, not very much that I have, but what it's like, they went up $550 a quarter on my taxes. That's $2,200 a year. Now think of your grandmother. We all have grandmothers, right? They're still alive. Are we going to have our grandmothers eating cat food, dog food? Not eat at all. They can't pay their taxes. I'm afraid of gentrification, people coming, so Northampton, Amherst, we watched it come. I went and I said, hey, what can we do about my property taxes? And they said, well, let me in your house. I said, no, you're not going to come in my house. But how do you justify that kind of money, $2,200? So somebody, I feel like somebody my age, not that I'm special or anything, but that I would have to go back to work. Think 85, 95, they're going to have to go, what kind of jobs? You want your grandmother to go to a job to try to pay their taxes? That's outrageous, that 100 and something, 83, he said, this close to losing. Now, you know what the guy said? Oh, that's okay. You can, well, just somebody else will buy your house and they'll pay the taxes. We have a problem. And it's bigger and it's growing financially. There is not enough money. The answer is not to tax all of us people who've been part of Greenfield for a long time, thinking that that's going to cover the, it's not gonna. Last time I saw the mayor, I was in a food line over to church. That's what I do. Mondays, Tuesday, and Wednesday I go. And she was there, and I felt like saying, you know why I'm here is because I don't have enough money to do anything else with everything else that I have. So we have a big heart here. I've been here for a long time. I know you really care. We have to find a different solution for the problems that are only going to get greater. And I know together, with heartfelt consciousness, that we're going to find a way to do that. And I really appreciate everybody here that's given their effort, but, you know, am I going to have to sell my house after all these years? I'd hate to leave this community. I've stayed because I love it, and I love the people, and it would be hard, but if I have to do it, I'll move along. Thank you very much, each and every one of you.
Thank you. I'm jumping to online, and I've got Reese McGovern.
Hi, yes, thank you for coming to me. Reese McGovern, I live in Precinct 8. If you can hear my cat screaming in the background, I apologize. I will keep this short because the things that I want to say have been said very eloquently by other people already, save one. So I want to encourage the council to adopt MGL Chapter 32B, Section 19, and to reject Sections 21 and 23. And I also want to reiterate what the first public commenter said. I would love to see Greenfield in the same way that we as a city stood up for trans residents of our city and of Massachusetts and declared that everyone is welcome here to be who they are and to be safe. I would really love to see the city move in a proactive way to reject the unlawful actions of immigration authorities under this administration. And the last thing that I would like to say is I didn't see this on the agenda tonight, so it may be something that is more for councilors to encourage the mayor to take action on, but I would really encourage the city to fund the rec room staff position to make sure that kids have places to go and things to do that are safe and pro-social throughout the year, including in the summer when schools are closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ryan Whitney.
Hi, my name's Ryan Whitney, Greenfield, Massachusetts. I just wanted to say that I came to the council a little while ago and I did a public comment about not being able to see the screen and technical problems. And then you guys did, I think it was a community relations thing on it. I had emailed all you guys. And still, right now, I can only see from Patty to John. I can't see any of the commenters at all. Today, I tried to log into the health board meeting, the health board meeting, and the link was, the lady couldn't figure it out. So I'd really like to urge you guys, because I have a disability, I don't go to the meetings because of my anxiety, and I don't want to cause outbursts for you guys. You guys have all seen me do outbursts, and I try to avoid doing that. So I really wish, like, Catherine Golob championed, being accessible and this and that, and got an article in the paper, and then nothing is done about it. Like, the access to the meetings are terrible, links are broken. Like, we really need to focus on, like, some of the meeting accessibility. All you guys, our city council and our mayor, I've worked with a lot of you on transparency. Like, I remember back before the mayor wasn't the mayor, and she was complaining about these things also, but now they're happening in her administration, and doesn't seem to be any attention to it. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for continuing to bring that up. I appreciate it. Stephanie Duclos.
Hi, Stephanie Duclos, Precinct 8. So today, I really don't know too much about what's on the agenda. I was very upset that I saw a last-minute added item that I wasn't able to go over. Perhaps this 32B sections, whatever they're talking about, prior to me commenting. I think that it's a disservice to the people to not follow the 5-day rule. I believe that we should have the agenda set before 5 days. It allows for the public to go and look at the information on the agenda, possibly reach out to counselors prior to the meeting. But when you have to digest 114 pages and then you're trying to attend overlapping meetings, it's a little much, because I spoke at the planning board meeting earlier, missed the fact that the planning board meeting had moved its regularly scheduled Thursday meetings to Wednesday. That conflict with other meetings like the Board of Health and the City Council meeting today. The scheduling issue is a nightmare. How do you encourage engagement if all the meetings are all scheduled at the same time on the same day because it's convenient for counselors and committee members? I think there needs to be a structured schedule, like the committee chairs, the first Monday of every month, it has to be out there, and that has to apply to all the boards. I understand it's not always convenient, you can't always get a quorum. Well, you took an obligation, you took an oath, you show up to these meetings, you come prepared. Well, that leads back to my original point. The agenda to digest as much as that you wanted us to digest in 2 days, and said, okay, well, I just got it under the wire because I got it in at 9 in the morning, and then Tammy has to send out updates to every single counselor, and then every single counselor has to, in the last minute, digest whatever it is you added to the agenda. It's not fair to the counselors. It's most certainly not fair to the public. And I wanted to speak a little bit about what Al Norman had touched upon. I want to thank Wahab for all the work that he's done on this and all the effort he put forward to make this a reality. And I appreciate the counselors that are currently on it and working on it and understand the importance of keeping the elderly, our largest population in Greenfield, in their homes. This cannot happen if you overtax your seniors with inaccurate assessments, overtaxation, not making agreements with them instead of, you go out and you gouge them like these credit card companies do, where they tease you in at 2, 3, 9% at some of them, and then before you know it, you're at 30% and you paid your bill always on time and they bankrupt you. Well, I don't like that mode that we're going in, where Greenfield's looking to bankrupt its citizens by overtaxing them. I will never support a 2.5% override. We have debt exclusions we have voted for libraries, for fire stations, comes back to change orders, millions of dollars out the door, and we can't fund our schools. 1,285 kids? What's that budget? There can be compromise on that insurance for the city. I'm sorry, guys, but cuts have to happen somewhere, and we need to fund things like public safety. Well, no, I want that money from the elderly taxation when you do take these people's homes to go into
Stephanie.
the elderly taxation fund. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I also have Joe Merkin online.
Thank you, Joe Merkin, 29 Highland Ave in Greenfield, and this is in regards to the closure of the rec room on Sanderson Street, and it's something my son, who's in middle school, has used daily this whole year. He's been in 5th grade. A bunch of his friends, Mr. Hesslink and their staff, really the entire rec department is kind of a godsend for the youth of this town. And I know every day after school, the library's packed, the rec room's packed. This is a great resource for our middle school age.
I'm reading from my number. Okay, so you did sign up. Awesome. I've seen you and I didn't know if you knew that you needed to sign up or anything like that.
If someone is unmuted, please make sure that you're muted if you're online. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyway, just to say, that I really want to see that program return next year. I'm understanding that it's supposed to be canceled, so maybe I got wrong information, but I want to be a voice to say that needs to stay as a resource to this town. You want to talk about public safety, if we ain't investing in the kids now, you're going to need a lot more public safety down the road. This is investing in the youth is, where it all starts from, square one. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm going to go back to the folks in the room who don't live in Greenfield, and first I have Stephanie Murdoch.
This person is in the hallway waiting.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Murdoch. I live in Millers Falls. I've been teaching 4th grade in Greenfield Public Schools for 5 years now, so although I live outside of Greenfield, I consider this city to be my community. I care deeply about the public school system, the families and children, my fellow educators, and the unions. I'm part of the Greenfield Education Association. I'm here like many today to urge you to adopt MGL Chapter 32B to join the GIC, to adopt Section 19 to preserve union rights in negotiating their health care plans, and to do away with Sections 21 to 23 that would strip union workers of these rights. Union workers are all here to serve our community and to support what's best for it. Maintaining collective bargaining rights is at the heart of acting in good faith with unions. The unions themselves have every reason to want to join the GIC as quickly and smoothly as possible. None of us want to see the dire health insurance cost increases or the budget cuts that would go along with these. Teachers want our buildings as fully staffed as possible so that we can best serve our students. Workers want to be able to afford to keep their positions, and health insurance increases could get in the way of that. And it seems like there's talk of having unions we're going to move quickly anyway. So as economic conditions are likely to worsen in the upcoming years, unions will be more important than ever in advocating for the people who keep our communities running. Therefore, there's no reason to take away our bargaining rights in any capacity. We're acting in good faith and will continue to do so. I trust my union to do what is right for our community and to continue advocating to keep things fair for everyone. Please keep our bargaining rights intact and adopt Section 19. It's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Sasha Mooresmith.
Hi. Hi, my name is Sasha. I live in Northampton. I'm the field organizer for the Western Massachusetts Area Labor Federation, AFL-CIO. Our federation represents 60 unions with over 50,000 union workers in the western 4 counties of Massachusetts. I'm here to stand with 2 of our affiliate unions today, the Massachusetts Nurses Association and the Greenfield Education Association. I'll start with the MNA. Their nurses work hard every day to keep this community safe, to keep us healthy. Let's repay that, stand with them, show solidarity, and help them win a fair, equitable contract that keeps our community safe with Bay State. I'd also like to address the issue of the GIC with the public sector unions. I urge you to adopt Section 19 and say no to Section 21 to 23. Our unions statewide just have to fight like hell to keep the GIC affordable. Right now, it is the best option because of how hard our unions fought after the governor proposed shifting premium burdens onto towns and to their employees. We ensured that that didn't happen. We won and we plan to keep on winning, but we don't know what the future holds. That's why collective bargaining rights are absolutely essential. Don't go down a route that would take away the bargaining rights of the workers in your city. Adopt Section 19, say no to Section 21 to 23. Thank you.
Thank you. And last on my list is Suzanne Love.
Thank you. My name is Suzanne Love, and I live in Florence. I am one of the nurses at Bay State Franklin Medical Center. I'm on the bargaining committee for the union. I work in the emergency department. I'm here because I don't live in this town, but I work in this town. And working in this town as one of your care providers on an emergency basis is something that's been really important to me, something that really brings a lot of satisfaction in my life. I really identify as being a nurse, and I want to care for people in your community, and the best way to do that is to keep on working with people who I also work with on a daily basis. We've been at the bargaining table now trying to get a contract that expired December 31st of 2025 renewed. We've had 18 sessions. Today was number 18. We had great community support last Tuesday for a picket. We had a strike vote yesterday because we just have been stagnation. We don't want to go on strike. I want to be really clear about that. I always say striking is more work than work. Have to go around and talk to every single nurse. I know how to go to work and be a nurse. That is my shift. I go in, I hopefully go home on time. I usually leave about 30 minutes late. But striking is so much more effort. It puts the community at risk. It spends money the hospital does not need to spend. Just spend that money to get the wages that we need, get the benefits that we need, keep this community going because you have a well-paid workforce in the nursing, and keep nurses working here. I've been there for 17 years. I want to keep on being there. I'm 59. I have about 8 more years to go. I'm going to be staying there and keep on working till the end. But we need to attract new nurses to come in there. The way that we do that is that we have the right starting pay. We are currently the lowest paid hospital for new grads, between 10 and 23% lower in this western part of the state. We need to fix that. One of the major sticking points, one of the things that is in the resolution that you have before you, asking the Greenfield City Council to support the nurses in getting a fair new contract, is that the hospital does not have outside nurses not in the union shop hospital come work there. I'm very happy to say that we had major progress at the bargaining table today. They took that off. They also had wanted to eliminate differentials for a bachelor's of science in nursing and a master's in nursing, of which 170 out of 230 nurses have. They want to take that away from us and instead say they're going to incorporate the raise across everybody. It makes no sense. What they were offering to replace that was just a 75-cent increase for those nurses who put in the extra effort, paid the extra money, did the extra education to become better nurses, to better serve this community, give better health outcomes to this community. So even though this major piece was settled today, we haven't reached an agreement. We still have work to do. We have 2 more sessions scheduled, and we'll be probably scheduling more, but we are looking forward to ratifying soon by having fair negotiations and talks keep going, and your important resolution supporting our efforts will make a big deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you to everybody for your public comments. Really appreciate everybody's passion and comments about affordability. We all know that it's tough out there, and we're facing really tough budgets as well, and that is laying the table for these conversations that are going to happen over the next 3 months here in the city. So appreciate everybody being part of this discussion. So I'm taking a breath. We have no public hearing or second readings tonight.
So we're going to go now to the mayor's reappointment to the Board of Registrars of Voters, and that's on page 31. And I will ask Counselor Golub if you're ready for that.
Could we have our 5-minute recess right now before we dive into voting? We're almost there.
Some of us just need.
If not, yeah. If not, can I use your?
I think we're voting with our feet. I just thought we could get a quick, easy thing out of the way, and then, okay, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Thank you, everybody. I'm like power through it, y'all.
If you all could take your seats, please. Thank you very much.
We're good to, you good? Okay. All right, I'm calling us back to order. It's 8:27 PM. So that was our fastest 5-minute break that I've seen in a while. I also wanted to comment, because I heard from GCTV, that if you want to be able to see everybody, if you go to the YouTube channel, the only problem is there's a 3-minute lag, something like that, so it makes it hard with the public comment, but that way you can see everybody's faces as well as the speakers. And I know that Fernando is working to fix that and isn't sure why Zoom is only showing a portion of people while YouTube is showing everybody. So no idea what's going on there. All right, so we're going to come back to the mayor's reappointment for the Board of Registrars on page 31. And Councilor Golub, if you can read that, please.
I can, I just need to get to the right page. Hold on one sec. Okay, great. Order number fiscal year 26087. The City Council moved that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council pursuant to Charter Section 210 affirms the following reappointment by the mayor to the Board of Registrars of Voters. Ava Carrier for a 3-year term to expire April 30th, 2029. Majority vote required.
Is there a second? Councilor Gordon, thank you.
And this received a positive unanimous recommendation.
Great. Any questions, councilors? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Any, okay. It is done. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service, Eva. All right, so I'm going to be taking things out of order. So next, we're going to go to adopting Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 32B, Sections 21 to 23. And Councilor Bullock, I'd like to ask you to read that. It's on page 50.
Order number FY 26-089, the City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor Disorder, move that it be ordered that the City Council adopts Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 32B, Sections 21, 22, 23, which authorizes the city to implement changes to employee health insurance plans through the alternative negotiation and transfer process established by the Commonwealth, including the pursuit of the transfer of participation from Health New England to the Group Insurance Commission, GIC. Majority vote required.
Do I have a second?
Second.
This received a unanimous negative recommendation from the Ways and Means Committee.
Thank you. So now we'll open up for discussion, and I just want to say, coming into this, there's been a lot of discussions. We moved this, both 19 and 21 to 23, back on our agenda so that as a council, we could discuss everything and have all the options in front of us. So that is, it was on chairs, it got pulled off and came back on. So it is back on. I appreciate the mayor. And if the mayor and Attorney Quinn want to come up, if people have questions, we can bring them up now. If you don't have questions, we can have them wait in the back. So, but I also want to just appreciate
Tara and the firefighters and all the unions that we've been speaking to over the last, gosh, I don't know how many days it's been, and that you all came to us with a letter that said we want to move forward with the GIC. I think that's really, really important, and seeing that everybody has signed off on. I don't know if the full council has seen that, but I've seen a copy of that letter. I think it went over our email earlier this week. And also that we're on a really expedited timeline to get this done. And so that's going to make it really tricky. We've got to get it signed really by the 21st. So I thank the unions for being willing to be that expedited, and the mayor and her team for also being able to be expedited on this. So I'm going to turn it over. Anybody have any questions about sections 21 through 23? Councilor Bullock and then Councilor Golub.
I'd like to make a motion to table this and move us to the section to discussion on section 19 and ask questions there.
Do I have a second? Okay, let's, non-debatable. We're gonna, and I think we'll do this as a roll call. Thank you.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Demuth?
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley?
Yes.
Counselor Bullock?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yep.
Counselor Simpson-Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion to table passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right, next we will take up, no surprise, adopt Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 32B, Section 19, and that's on page 35 for Councilor Bullock to read.
Order number FY 26-088, the City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor Disorder, move that it be ordered that the City Council adopts MGL Chapter 32B, Section 19, which authorizes the City of Greenfield to negotiate changes to its employee health insurance plans with a public employee committee, PEC, including the pursuit of the transfer of participation from Health New England to the Group Insurance Commission, GIC. Majority vote required.
Great, all right. So, and this was not before Ways and Means, so you guys don't have a formal recommendation, so I'll open it up for discussion and questions. So I see Councilor Golub.
I want to thank you, Mayor, for working on this, and I want to thank the unions for working on this, and I want to say that if I'm understanding correctly, I understand why you put forward the first one, the 21 to 23, because we're in such a crisis right now, and I was very grateful to hear you say that you want to be an exception to the statistic and that you're willing to try that. And I could never vote against collective bargaining. I'm so grateful for the unions. And I want to say to the unions, please help Greenfield be the exception to the statistic, because we need to move forward now. So we are counting on you all to negotiate and to do this, and we believe you, and we trust you, and we're grateful to you for prioritizing a swift response and to make Greenfield an exception to the statistic and an example for being able to, for other communities to enter into the GIC and to preserve the possibility for collective bargaining. So thank you all for the work you have done and that you will do in the coming week.
I don't, okay. Counselor Bottomley and then Counselor Gordon.
This is an incredibly difficult vote for me because I genuinely would like to vote with the majority on this. I approach this not as a union member or a Democrat, but as a city councilor on Ways and Means Committee who's charged with evaluating the situation on fiscal grounds. The following points have helped inform my decision. 1, the advice of all experts in the field is to adopt 21 through 23, including the Mass Municipal Association, our attorneys, and representatives from the Group Insurance Commission. There's a documented proven success rate for cities that adopt 21 to 23 as a path to transfer to GIC. 2, it will save $1 million in jobs cuts for fiscal year 2027 alone. 3, 21 to 23 expedites the timeline to achieve the transfer to GIC in order to save that 1 million in jobs immediately. Achieving that timeline for 21 to 23 is already a Herculean task to implement for the city. 4, healthcare and retirement are some of the biggest drivers in our budget. If the course continues, our healthcare budget alone will have doubled from 2023 to 2028, from 7 million to over 14 million. It is not sustainable. We can't fix this problem by simply raising taxes. The risk involved with failure is just too great. The impact of losing a total of $2 million worth of jobs from the city departments in FY 2027 will be felt by all residents of Greenfield, and it will have a lasting impact. I support the work that's been done here behind the scenes and sincerely hope it succeeds. But based on the information at hand and the 5 years I've spent serving on Ways and Means, I don't believe it would be fiscally prudent to vote in favor of adopting 19 at this time.
Counselor Gordon.
I'd want to echo what Counselor Golub said. I am happy to support voting for this. Really appreciate the very difficult position that the mayor is in, that the city is in, that the unions are in. I think none of us wants to vote in any way to take away collective bargaining rights. We recognize how incredibly important those are, and also recognize that the statistics are real, and there's a reason that the city feels that it may need to have a different recourse. We do believe in you, and we appreciate the unions coming so collaboratively to the table on this, and believe that we can be an exception. And I feel like I say this a lot, but it's worth taking the opportunity to say it. None of us should be in this position. I'm sorry that the city is. I'm sorry that the unions are. You work so hard for the schools and for all the other city departments. You have better things to do on your Wednesday evening. It shouldn't be this way. We need single-payer healthcare. We need better state aid to our schools. We need better state aid to our municipalities. It is not okay that we are constantly pitted against each other this way, because I absolutely believe that all of us really are here believing in Greenfield and for the best interests of everyone in Greenfield. And no city can solve these problems within itself. That's why, unfortunately, property taxes do get raised, because that's basically the only recourse that the city has to cover its costs when state aid just goes down and down and down compared to what we need. So, let's all contact our state legislators and push for the things we need from them. Also, at the federal level, we need a really different approach to support all of our municipalities.
I've got Counselor Bullock next.
I just want to say thank you. Honestly, thank you to everyone who has taken the time over the last 2 weeks to work on this issue, whether it's been phone calls or conversations between counselors, the union stewards who, met with some of us on the weekend to really explain this. The level of respect and just like willingness to collaborate on this is not something that I've often experienced at city council, right? These things become divisive. And so it has really been, at the start of a very difficult budget season, a hard conversations, but felt very positive in it. And it was great to see, I think maybe she's gone, but my son's old teacher was here. And so it's just, I know we can't, the employees in our city can't shoulder this burden, and the city can't shoulder this burden either. And so everyone knows we have to enter the GIC. And I think for the sake of us not having paid a lawyer for 2 hours to sit here and listen to our meeting, I would like to hear from you why the recommendation of 21 through 23 was made from a attorney's perspective for our municipality rather than 19.
Sure. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you. I was getting a little bit lonely because I was up here a couple of times and no one was asking me questions. But yeah, we advised to pursue sections 21 through 23 because both section 19 and 21 through 23, those are the two avenues to get to the GIC, basically. And they both involve a collective bargaining process with a public employee committee. Really, the only difference is that under 21 through 23, the bargaining process, after the city provides information about the transition to a GIC plan and provide information about the cost savings, the city then has, and the PEC, the Public Employee Committee, have a 30-day period to engage in collective bargaining negotiations. And the hope is that an agreement would be reached during that 30-day period, and in many cases it is. But in the event that no agreement is reached, then a health review panel is appointed. One member is appointed by the city, one member is appointed by the Public Employee Committee, and then another person is referred by the state. And this tripartite panel, if you will, has a short window of time after seeing the proposal provided by the city and any other information provided by the Public Employee Committee to make a decision, right, to make a final decision that would end the collective bargaining process. So it's a process. 21 through 23 has this process where there's a final ending, and I think it's important to achieve that final. We thought it was important to achieve that final ending before the July 1st date, because as you know, under both Section 19 and 21 through 23, the city has to notify the GIC by July 1st of the transition. And if it doesn't, you cannot transition to the GIC on January 1st of 2027. You'd have to wait another year, July 1st of 2027 to transition, right? So it's that deadline that kind of, prompted me to provide that advice to the mayor about adopting 21 through 23, because you really have to meet that deadline. If you don't meet that July 1st deadline about notifying GIC, then you're stuck with these substantial, crippling health insurance increases for a year. And so that was the only motivation, basically, is because of that deadline. Under Section 19, there is no deadline. You can theoretically engage in negotiations for as long as it takes. Now, hopefully that will not happen, because it looks like, from what people are saying, that the unions or the Public Employee Committee would agree to transition to the GIC. But, again, I always say nothing's assured, right, when you're engaged in collective bargaining. So that's why we advised that 21 through 23 should be a backup plan, or should be a process that should be considered by the council.
Councilor Webb?
Thank you for your time and for giving us that explanation. I guess I just want to say, as you're going through cuts, I understand, like, on paper we need it balanced, but just considering how cutting and balancing on paper affects the paychecks and the take-home pay of people that work here, when we're talking about this, we're asking them to pay more than they can afford. They're not going to be able to work here, they're not going to be able to live here, then we're definitely SOL when it comes to taxes. Same with the rec room. But I would just say this is an exercise in trust between city government and the people that work here, and Section 19 is an easy vote for trust and trusting that we can make through this and work better in the future.
Counselor Minhas?
So I'm conflicted between, given how we know that you're charging us for your services, whether I want to make a long statement or I don't, but I mean, I kind of just want to take a little step back as to why we're in such a conundrum. The reason we're in this weird conundrum is because we are being ruled by a class of people who have decided that our tax dollars, rather than going to our health care, should be going to bomb kids 1,000 miles away who we know nothing about. So that's the reason why we're in this conundrum today. And just to kind of make it as concise as I can, anything that supports the American worker, I support. Anything that dilutes their power, I will oppose vehemently. So I can wholeheartedly support this measure.
Counselor Williams?
I just want to say I'm very proud to live someplace where folks can bargain in good faith, because there's so little of that in this government today, and we have it here. So thank you.
Thank you. So now is my hand up. I support the workers' rights for collective bargaining. I think it's a really important part of everything. And the other counselors who've talked about, we're in a place because of failure of equitable funding for rural communities like ours. And that goes across the board for lots of different things. So I won't go off on that but I think the things that has given me so much hope is watching people come to this conversation with open hearts. And you don't often have that, especially because it gets often adversarial in these sorts of situations. So we are all trusting together that we're going to come together and get this done quickly. And I know we will, because looking into your eyes and your hearts, I've seen it, and I've seen people's drive to make this happen. We know we've got to get it done by the 21st, and that is our special meeting. And I know that puts a lot of pressure on everybody, but I also believe in all of you to get this done, because we all want what's best for Greenfield, which is making sure that your insurance rates don't go up a lot. It's making sure that we don't have to make big cuts because we can't sustain that budget. And nobody wants a 2.5 override. So thank you, everybody who has been contacting us about this, who's gone to work. And I also want to really thank the mayor, who has also gone to work on this and has been batting for all of us and staying up late and not sleeping and worrying day and night over our budgets, and all of the people and the workers who work for the city. So that's my spiel, and I'm looking forward to voting for 19. So I think we can take a roll call vote.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor DeMuth,
Yes.
Counselor Bottomley,
No?
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Sibison.
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
The motion passes by majority.
All right. Thank you all.
Do you have any other questions on anything for the attorney before I can send him along?
Make up his time. We do need to, we would like to figure out if we can give the mayor more time on the budget because of the charter, and I'm being advised that we can't. So I'm going to ask you, Attorney Quinn, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I did speak briefly with the mayor about that. The charter doesn't provide a specific or outline a consequence if something is not submitted by a certain date, right? There's no consequence. And so I'm at a loss to really give advice as to what the consequence would be if the budget is submitted shortly after a particular time limit set forth in the charter. I don't think that there's any financial penalty associated with perhaps overstepping that time limit. I'm not aware of that. I haven't researched, in my research, I haven't found anything like that. And I think it's basically a cost-benefit situation where you have to, if the budget needs to be submitted a little later with the council's approval, and, if the council approves that, I think, I don't see what if there are any major legal repercussions associated with that. I think especially given the significance of needing to pass a budget, I think if the council and the mayor come to a consensus on that, on the time limit, I think you should be, it's not a great situation, but I don't think there's any significant penalty associated with it.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question to that. How much does that open us up to a floodgate of not following our charter, and what would the repercussions of that be?
Well, I guess it could theoretically be cited by others in the future if there's some other time limit under the charter. I think, I'm not sure if that's you'd have to weigh if that's a significant reason to not approve an extension in this situation. I think, it's just a cost-benefit analysis. A budget has to be passed. It seems, my understanding in speaking with the mayor is that because of the health insurance issues all rising at the same time as this budget discussion, it's almost practically impossible, right, to provide a budget within the specific time limits. So I think every situation's got to be kind of viewed in terms of in terms of the situation. And I think there's a good argument that given the exigencies associated with this situation and the budget and the health insurance, that I think you can carve out an exception in this case, especially if the city council were to agree with the mayor.
Okay, thank you. Because this is not on the agenda, I'm very aware of going too close to the sun on this one, so Councilor Williams.
Okay, I got my wings out to fly. Okay, so I would strongly agree if more time is required, to give more time, we can make it non-precedent setting, so it won't create any problems for the future. So we could do a formal agreement that's non-precedent setting with a time frame beyond whatever it says in the charter.
Councilor Golub.
Aware of open meeting law, what I would support is if the council president and vice president and the Ways and Means chair, I feel like this could be under the realm of, this conversation is under the realm of questions for the mayor, and we have asked the questions to the mayor and the attorney, and if this gets out of the realm of us all debating this, would feel more comfortable to me. Does that make sense?
Yes. So what I'm going to recommend that is, because we've got the special meeting next week, that we can move on something next week related to this topic. Yep, and we'll have it posted by 5 p.m. tomorrow, so the mayor will know that she potentially has extra time, which is really important to give her extra time. Councilor Bottomley?
The only concern is, when is the budget officially due? The 22nd?
On the 22nd.
So that feels a little bit scary to not vote on something tonight. We can't vote on motions in a city council meeting?
This is not on the agenda. I think that we need to defer to the council president to.
I would like to get it on the special meeting agenda. Thank you. And we'll know by tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is the resolution in support of the nurses of Bay State Franklin Medical Center. Is that an A&O? Thank you. It's on page 33 if you need it.
Thank you. Order number fiscal year 26119, the City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council approves the attached resolution titled, "A Resolution in Support of the Nurses of Bay State Franklin Medical Center." Majority vote required.
Second.
And this received a positive unanimous recommendation from the committee.
Thank you. Any discussion? Councilor Golub.
I'll just say the same thing that I said in A&O, which is just so much gratitude for the nurses for organizing for safe and high-quality standards for all of the members of our community. And this is a lot of work, and people shouldn't have to fight for this, but I'm grateful to all the organizing.
Councilor Williams, and then I've got, or
Just-
okay.
Just briefly, one of the major topics here is safe staffing, that the folks, the nurses at Franklin Medical got safe staffing language in their last contract, and that was a hard-fought battle, and part of the concessions being demanded to by the hospital is to take that away. And if you think about what it means to be in a hospital with not enough nurses, that gets real scary. So I think this is, the nurses had a very big picket last week. I attended, as did the mayor. A number of you attended. I think it's extremely important to support this. This is for our benefit. They fight every day for our benefit, so we need to stand up for them. Thank you.
Vice President Garrett?
I'm really pleased that we're passing this resolution, or we're likely to pass this resolution, and also incredibly proud of Bay State Franklin being a unionized workplace, especially considering its sister hospital down in Springfield is not. The CEO of Bay State is famously proud of firing people. He's written a book. He goes on financial talk shows to talk about how firing people is actually a good thing and people need to be less afraid of it, as he rakes in six-figure, maybe even more than six figures, it's hard to honestly imagine, salaries. And so, you know, off of the backs of the workers here in Greenfield, where many of our children were born and many of us may need medical care in the future or the past, that's where his luxury lifestyle is coming from. And so, you know, this is speech, this is something, but I'm glad that our council has the option to lend our voices in support of these workers. You know, not to continue for too long, but one of the things that always strikes me about this country is we accept dictatorship in our workplaces in many instances, and yet we talk about being, you know, the oldest democracy in the world in a lot of ways, which is, you know, in some parts true. But unions allow workplaces to be democracies, at least to some degree. And so I'm just, again, in solidarity with the workers there and glad that we're doing this.
I don't think I see any other hands. I think we can do this on a voice vote if everyone's okay with that. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any abstentions, opposed? Great, the motion passes. Thank you, nurses, for being here tonight, and thank you for all your work.
All right, so we don't have a presentation of petitions or similar papers. I don't have reports of committees. No official unfinished business, no old business. So we're moving to new business and the Elderly and Disabled Tax Fund Committee Counselor Report. So that's on page 68. So Counselor Williams.
Yes, thank you. I'll keep it brief. So the Elderly and Disabled Tax Fund has been working, the committee has been working together for a little over a year. And we have come up with a prospectus. We've come up with a very, very detailed application. We have come up with a pledge sheet. So there's all sets of materials that are in place to do fundraising, which is actually the phase we're in now. So we have all of our documents that were painfully worked over meticulously, but now all of our documents are in place and we are ready to start fundraising. And we plan to be operative. We'll start accepting applications next September. So the following time period after that, we will determine awards in March, and they'll be begun to be given out in the third and fourth quarter of the following year. So we are in a fundraising stage, so that's why I wanted to talk to y'all, because y'all got wallets, and we would appreciate any kind of donation you can make. We're trying to raise, we will raise $20,000 for the first round. There is a limit of $2,000 that will go towards folks' tax bill, and that will be the limit. And so we would like to at least service 10 households on our first round. This has been a very, very popular program throughout the state, and the committee has done an incredible amount of work, as have all the advocates of this program outside of the committee, done an incredible amount of work to get this done. And so I just want to give my gratitude to all of those folks who are too shy to be named. But yes, we are in the fundraising level. I do have the documents with me. If anybody's interested in seeing the documents, I can certainly give them to them. But feel free to write checks. You can bring them to Mandy. She will take them happily at the treasurer's office. Anything you can do would be very, very, would be appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Councilor Manhas.
Again, just echoing Councilor Williams' comments there. So, just reminding people the gravity of the situation right now. We all understand the behemoth of an issue that housing has become, and how homelessness and people being kicked out of their homes has become. According to the latest statistics from our municipality, there are over 180 homes that are potentially at risk. That means over 180 families in a town of 70,000 that could potentially lose their homes. So this is that program that can prevent somebody from going down the path of homelessness. And I would also, not to give away stuff, but having really good meetings with a lot of financial institutions, a lot of businesses in the area, who had reached out to me years prior when I had told them about this idea that community members and I kind of figured out. We will definitely get past that 20,000, and I would love for community members, individuals, to be part of that, and have a role in helping our most vulnerable folks stay in the homes, stay in the buildings that they call home. This would be huge, so thank you.
Councilor Webb, and then I will go to Councilor Bullock.
Could you just share what are all the ways that people can donate, and if there's a website or anything that people can look at?
'Cause 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 There is a website, or it's part of the city website. You can donate through that. There is supposed to be, and I understand, in the next tax bills and the water and sewer bills, there will be a checkoff there where you can add money in order to have it go into the fund. And it's a restricted fund. By the way, that's very important for folks to understand. Or you can sashay into town hall and write a check in the treasurer's office, if you like to sashay. Okay.
But no Venmo.
Also, sorry. None of these funds are going to be going to any of the committee members. Like, we're not taking a salary. We're not having like some really nice stipends, or I'm not going out buying a Bentley with your money. Like, this is going straight directly towards people's homes and their tax bills.
And
Counselor Bullock next, and then I have Counselor Golub.
Patty, Counselor Williams answered my question. It was about if there was like a checkbox when I get my next bill, if I could just do it that way. That feels easy. Thank you.
Okay. Counselor Golub.
Sorry. By restricted fund, you mean that these funds don't go into the general fund? They're specifically, anyone who checks that box, it goes specifically to this fund and will not go to anywhere else in the budget?
Exactly.
Okay, great.
And the funds go directly to the city. So if somebody is given an award, let's say somebody is let's say they're $1,000 in arrears. That $1,000 comes out of that account and goes to the city, to the tax bill. No checks are handed out. So there's no issue with any problems regarding that. So it's a very, clean, yikes, it's a very clean operation. Thank you.
I just want to thank you for the update and also for all your work on this. It's so important. I mean, as we heard from others, everything's becoming so unaffordable, and this is a really public way of making a difference. So really appreciate all the thought that went into that and helping our neighbors. So it's really, really great stuff. All right. Since we just talked about delaying, and after my sidebar with Kathy, since there is no penalty, Mayor, I'm just going to give you till April 30th, and we're done. So no penalty, we're not going to, no one's going to come after you. We're not going to change the charter because I think that's a bad precedent. So I think it's much better. You've got till the 30th. We appreciate all you're doing, and that you need some more time. So thank you. So I'm going to move to new business now, and the first reading, which is DPW Chapter 90 funding. So I think Marianne's going to have a lot to read off.
Yep. Again, round two.
Were you in theater? Do you have your drama voice?
I was not in theater. But I can talk, don't worry. Order number FY 26-083, the City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor Disorder, move that it be ordered that the City Council approves the Department of Public Works to accept Chapter 90 funding in the amount of $960,308,000.54 to be used for road works and repairs. I did it wrong. What do you need?
You can just read page 69 so that you don't have to read
Oh, I
every
don't have to read every
single-
order like I did the other night? Great, okay, I'm gonna start at,
69 and 70.
69. City Council first reading, April 15th, 2026, approved Department of Public Works to accept Chapter 90 funding in the amount of $960,308,054 for road work and repairs. Approved transfer of $173,611,000.75 from General Fund Bond Premium to General Fund Legal Expenses, number 5302, for $10,740.91, and General Fund Short-Term Interest, number 5925, for $162,870,084. Repurpose funds from anaerobic digester appropriation for $15,000 to cover increase of cost in the water meter replacement appropriation. Repurpose funds from the Leiden Woods Pump Station appropriation for $41,731.82 to cover increase of costs in water meter replacement appropriation. Appropriate $250,000 for borrowing to purchase XXX BTU generator to replace police department emergency redundant power generator. Fiscal year 2027 capital budget. Approve $130,000 from borrowing for reclamation and paving of Abercrombie Drive. Approve $15,000 from capital stabilization account 8402 to replace gutter at Academy of Early Learning. Approve $36,000 from capital stabilization account 8402 to resurface basketball court at swimming area. Approve $25,000 from sewer retained earnings to purchase Chevrolet Equinox to replace car number 10. Approve $100,000 from borrowing for cross-connection survey for water department. Approve $317,000 from water retained earnings to purchase dump truck number 40. Approve $70,000 from water retained earnings to update door, window, and heat for Green River Pump Station. Approve $40,000 for capital stabilization account 8402 to replace guardrail. Approve $200,000 from capital stabilization account 8402 for highway fund. Approve $158,000 from capital stabilization account 8402 to replace highway truck number 45. Approve $600,000 from borrowing for repairs to inflow and infiltration systems. Approve $35,000 from water retained earnings to relocate Lime Solo Ladder to Adams Tower. Approve $45,000 from water retained earnings for rehabilitation of Millbrook Well Number 2. Approve $150,000 from water retained earnings for engineering and design of redevelopment to Millbrook Well Number 1. Approve $100,000 from sewer retained earnings for engineering the upgraded nitrogen removal. Approve $65,000 from water retained earnings to update wiring at Oak Hill Building. Approve $85,000 from borrowing for Oak Hill flow valves and structure. Approve $700,000 from borrowing to replace Place Terrace water main. Approve $50,000 from sewer retained earnings for press supervisory control and data acquisition system development. Approve $90,000 from high school building account 4312 to purchase Ford F-250 for Greenfield Public Schools. Approve $200,000 from capital stabilization account 8402 for sidewalk replacement programs. Approve $50,000 from highway school building account 4312 for track maintenance at Greenfield High School. Approve $40,000 from capital stabilization account 8402 to remodel the bathroom at the transfer station. Approve $80,000 from capital stabilization account 8402 to replace break room at the transfer station. Approve $370,000 from borrowing to replace trash truck number 197. Approve $80,000 from water retained earnings to upgrade water system modeling. Approve $100,000 from sewer retained earnings to upgrade electrical to water pollution control plant. Approve $315,000 from sewer retained earnings to replace screen number 1 at water pollution control plant. That's it.
All right. Mic drop. All right. Thank you. And we have zoning amendment proposals, and Vice President Garrett.
Sure. So this one is related to really all the city, but it came from LOIs, our new planning director, and she discovered it in a review of zoning amendments. And I would argue this is what I would call a technical fix regarding height restrictions. This is not, there's going to be a joint meeting at the beginning of May that has not yet been scheduled, but the date that it is 99% likely to happen is May 7th for any members of the public who are listening and are interested in attending this meeting. So again, May 7th is likely to be a joint EDC planning board meeting. It hasn't been scheduled yet. What's that? You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably a good idea. I just wanted to make sure people knew it was happening, you know. All right, so notice of zoning amendment proposal, April 15th, 2026. The following zoning amendment proposal has been submitted to the Greenfield City Council for consideration. Amend zoning ordinance, section 200-5.3, additional dimensional provisions, and 200-6.2, accessory uses and structures, submitted April 10th, 2026 by the planning board. And all that other stuff I said was true, and I got a thumbs up from Kathy. So that's kind of the long and the short of it. We'll be discussing this more at the beginning of May.
Thank you. I don't have any motions for reconsideration tonight, so I will take a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. It is 9:15 on the dot. Thank you, everyone.